That breaking news out of Chicago. Customs and Border Protection says agents were shot at while conducting an immigration enforcement operation earlier today. Cameras from our Fox affiliate were there in the aftermath of the shooting. That's the video currently on your screen. There have been weeks of tension in Chicago over the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration, amid a legal battle over whether the White House can send the National Guard there. Former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey is with us. Jonathan, so a black Jeep apparently speeds by a bunch of ICE officers. Shots are fired and the Jeep speeds off. What's your reaction?
You know, I want to say it would be shocking or something else, but I feel like with all of this rhetoric and all this what's been going on in the last several months with this rhetoric, political rhetoric directed at ICE agents, directed at CBP, it's not surprising that the level of violence against them has risen. And something like this, and even something worse than this, are bound to happen because of the rhetoric. And the unfortunate thing is these ICE agents are simply doing a job that they're required to do. And these politicians are, elevating themselves, their status within the Democratic Party by essentially tacitly supporting this type of activity.
It's a wonder, frankly, that nobody was hurt. ICE agents had to call in local police. Are they allowed or are they not allowed to actually, enforce local law and maybe fire back in a situation like this?
Well, they're certainly allowed to defend themselves and also to arrest somebody doing that, because that would be a federal law violation as well. But it just gets so complicated because you have the locality, of Chicago and Illinois as a whole that are basically fighting against, the governments are fighting against the federal government at every step of the way. So they're really not getting the support that they need. And even the local police probably want to support them, but they're not getting the support from their upper level. So it really is just a bad situation. And again, these agents that are out there, these are moms and dads, brothers, sisters, neighbors of so many people, and they're putting their lives on the line, and they're in fact doing what they're supposed to do. And these politicians, it goes so far beyond irresponsible political rhetoric, what's been going on. And it's sad that we're going to have to be either today or down the road on one of these shows talking about some horrible tragedy that in many respects could be prevented.
Yeah, because it's a strange time in this country when law enforcement officials not only get criticized for doing their jobs, but they've had bricks and paint cans thrown at them in Chicago for trying to pick up illegal immigrants.
Yeah, it's really insane if you think about it, and the rhetoric coming against them. They're routinely, as we talk about a lot here, they're routinely compared to Nazis by our highest level politicians, not just some fringe politician. So it really does say it's acceptable to resist them and what they're doing, and it's acceptable to harm them if you equate them to Nazis and delegitimize everything they're doing. And it's not surprising that certain members of the public are responding this way, and it is just, again, the ones that are actually doing their jobs responsibly are the ones that are attacked, which is just the ultimate irony and the tragedy of this whole thing, in addition to the tragedy on the streets today.
So if this person is caught, what kind of prosecution might they face, given that it's Chicago, Illinois?
Well, the good news is there will be federal charges that could be brought, attempted murder of a federal agent and things of that nature, use of a firearm during a crime of violence. So they really are some serious federal charges, which will carry a serious penalty. Just the firearms offense alone would have a 10-year mandatory minimum. But again, your point is overall right, overall good, in that you're going to be still trying a case in Chicago where you have citizens that are really turned against ICE agents. So, hopefully you would get a jury that would convict on the facts rather than nullify these situations. And there's also a plethora of state charges, attempted murder, other types of things that could also be brought against this person. And hopefully people for this type of thing would unite and support a prosecution, and ultimately, hopefully, significant sentence would be laid out in this case, because whoever did this needs to be off the streets and off the streets for good. And anyone that's thinking about doing this needs to see that message and realize it's not worth it.
Yeah, it is fortunate that none of those
All right, and I'm gonna stop it right there. Peace and blessings, all praises due to the Most High. I hope you guys could stomach that narration of what they're calling someone shooting at Border Patrol or ICE agents in Chicago. Now, first, I myself think is what they would call a false flag. That is when someone does something predetermined to create a heightened sense of urgency or a heightened sense of sensationalism. In this case, propagating what they're calling violence against the ICE agents. Now think about it. You have a lot of ICE agents and military gear police around. Somebody in a black Jeep comes and shoots. Nobody gets them. The technology is too great. These guys are the walkie-talkies. Like you cannot tell me that out of all of this, with all of this going on, they couldn't get somebody to get this individual who did so. This individual is still at large. Now, also, they're trying to paint it as, once again, the people are being violent against the Border Patrol agents and the ICE. Now, I'm going to show you a video which comes from the other side, the ICE being violent against the people. Now, even you can see in this clip, they kept showing it over and over again. They had it on loop where a man in a hoodie was walking by the officer, and he must have said something the officer didn't like. The officer attempts to grab him. He pulls away. Now, all of these 20 or 30 people, police and ICE agents, come and they get on the man and they start pushing people away. That is violence against the people. Now, that officer that the man said something to is a human being. He probably called him a name. Now, this officer wants to grab him. Freedom of speech. He can call you what he wants to. But what we are seeing in these cities is the militarization of police, which they have already been militarized, but also just the militarization of the entire state of the United States of America. I want you guys to do me a favor. The next football game you watch, it may happen tomorrow on Sunday, or Monday night football, Sunday night football, or Thursday night football. It's normally those that I notice where if you watch the players on the sideline who don't have on uniforms, the coaches, the players that are injured, they have on military type colors. They have on like camouflage, green or brown militarization colors. What are they doing? They are getting us used to seeing the militarization or the military uniforms in our day-to-day lives, even in our entertainment. So I haven't been covering this ICE thing because, once again, I think black people need to just stay home, stay out of the streets. What can ICE do to us that America has not already done? If they come to your door, then that's when you pull out your what you callers and your equalizers, and then you handle business. But for us going out there, as you seeing, they are arresting and detaining regular citizens, black, white, brown, and different. And so we have to be careful. And they're talking about, you heard that reporter say, well, there's going to be a horrible tragedy if this continues. Well, there's already been several horrible tragedies. ICE agents have shot several people who were unarmed. And, the people are fighting back from these attacks. So they're trying to create the narrative that people are just coming out assaulting officers who are doing their jobs. But just take a look at this narrative from a lawmaker who was in one of those cities talking about the direct opposite. Just watching. These videos are fair use for literary and commentary purposes only.
To that, because they realize that the uprising and the resistance movement is becoming a problem for them, they're now going after dissenters. And they attacked people. They were punching someone in the head whose head was on the asphalt, as you showed from a citizen-gathered video before the break. These are outrages. They're physical assaults on people who are literally just exercising their First Amendment rights. We can't have this.
What do you think the country should understand about your residents and the type of reaction, the kind of resistance that you're describing that's taking shape in Evanston? We can see it in terms of local media coverage and local social media in terms of residents documenting what they are seeing and the way they're responding. But as Evanston's mayor, what should we understand about how the city of Evanston and people who live there feel about and how they're acting in response to Trump's agents?
Rachel, there are not words to describe how much I appreciate you asking this question, because these last 2 months, this hell, this occupation, it's changed us. It's changed our brain chemistry. We don't leave home without a whistle anymore. When we hear a helicopter overhead, we freak out and we text everybody we know. We're always on the lookout for exits and rooms that we haven't been in before. We're constantly working together to inform people who might be at risk of what the dangers are. We are a community under occupation, and people are rising up. Yes, the city's doing everything we can. We are trying to be the tip of the spear fighting back against ICE, but it's not just the government. In fact, not even necessarily mostly the government, just residents are coming together, building new organizations, new networks to track ICE, to keep people informed of their rights, to keep people safe, frankly, to slow ICE down so they can abduct fewer people in a given shift. It is horrifying, and yet it's astonishingly uplifting to see the way people are fighting back.
I have to ask, because of that, what you're describing and what we've been able to observe from here is a movement that is instinctual on the part of your residents. People, yes, people that were organized, who may have been political activists in some way or shape or form in advance of this, but a lot of people instinctually are reacting and organizing and doing this sort of community rapid response stuff. And since more people started doing it instinctually,
We'll stop it right there, because once again, they're getting into, I guess, the people's resistance, which you're going to see, which you have seen. A lot of those people out there resisting are white people, and, they're trying to defend the ICE, and they're trying to defend the immigrants and things like that, which, I'm kind of conflicted about that, because, they say, well, if you're not supposed to be in this country, then, you should not be here. But, then you target regular citizens and other people, and you're going and violating black people and, other people. So, this is an example. And in my opinion, I just think that America is falling. This is the beginning of the fall of America, because it falls from within, where you have governors and different cities and mayors going against, the white people in Congress, the president, all of those people. These fights, in my opinion, have nothing to do with black people until they start rounding black people up. And I know they're y'all are saying some agencies they are, or some people they're rounding up. I haven't, once again, I think the majority of these people are not saying that should be done as well. But it's a very tense subject. And, it was a black lady who got shot by the ICE agents when she was out there protesting. And so, we when it's time to lock people up and throw people on the ground, if we are out there, on the front lines, and of course, America has showed us how they feel about us, and they have no qualms about shooting us, about violating our rights, our human rights, not civil rights, and all of those things. So, once again, this happened today. Supposedly, an ICE agent was shot at, but I think it's a part of the propaganda to allow them to continue to be more violent, because there is quote unquote violence against them. But, y'all let me know what y'all think about this video and the situation in the comments. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for liking, watching, sharing, and commenting. And if you have not subscribed, please do so. It allows the channel to continue to grow. But I thank you dearly. And as always, I pray you have peace and blessings. The scripture says all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. Let's go. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Who keep the people informed? Stories abroad from literary work, whether narrative's wrong. The research is always on point, the commentary is hard. It's Rich Teller raising the bar. Follow along, shout out to FBA, still FTP. Pick up NFAC and all my black families. It's three sides to all stories. Which one you gon' believe? We run down on the false prophets when they come to deceive. 100% urban world news, current events. We don't like them lies. Media is biased, 'cause we got God beside us. Ladies and gents is power. If you don't know by now, look around me, the darkest hours. Cops squeezing hammers, 'cause they don't understand us. We stop and freeze with our hands and kill us off like cancer. Don't speculate before the facts on the case. Tell a house, set them straight, my brother Rich investigates. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news don't muddle it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long.